Hello everybody, it's Katie from Blueprint Games with another tutorial for you. Today we're going to be talking about Vertex Painting, and this is a really useful tool for being taking a modular piece that might look like it's tiling and adding a bit of variation in there without a lot of effort. And you're going to see what I mean. I'm going to show you some examples, and I'm going to show you how you can use them. There's lots of different things you can do with Vertex Painting. From sort of adding moss to adding broken tiles. You might see it happen a lot in a lot of the examples you find on your Unreal Marketplace, like the Reflections demo. So I'm going to show you different uses that you can use for Vertex Painting and take you through how you can do that. So let's take a look over here. I'm just using the map from the Relapse demo. If you haven't checked that out already, it's on Kickstarter. We're looking for about 20k. So take a look, see what you think, try the demo out, give me some feedback. I'd really appreciate that. So take a look here. This is an example of Vertex Painting. Right, so what we need to do is we're in Unreal and we go to this little mode here called Paint. And I'm not going to describe it too much right now, I'm just going to show you how it works. So what I have here is a material that is already set up with Vertex Painting. And I can just paint in all that moss there, like so. And you see how I've sort of used it around to just create a bit of variation between each modular piece. It breaks up the texture and it looks a lot better. Next example, we have this entire asylum wall. Now what I've done is I have created two versions of the texture. Let me just find a brighter part of the wall to give you an example. Oh, it's all, the sun is in the wrong place. Anyway, you can probably see. But what I've done is I have linked together the entire wall like so. This means that I can paint without it. If you saw earlier on the moss version, it was sort of quite annoying. So you just need to link it together. And then you can paint straight on. Can you see the difference? Let me just plop a light in so you can... Go on, there we go. So you can paint directly on your moss variation. So I've got two different textures that are the same, one version without moss, one with, and it just adds a bit of variation so you can't see the obvious tiling between modular pieces. Next version is puddles. So these are really awesome. Someone's already requested a water tutorial and I will be covering it, but it is quite complicated, this version, because I found out how to do it from the Reflections demo, which is a really useful little map you should check out if you want to know how to do puddles. So you got these little puddles here. You might want to add a reflection node there. I've just removed them, but it will help make them seem more realistic. So if I was to select this and start painting, I need to change that, I think. There we go. I can just paint on some puddles like so. Another version that you can use is tiles. So this is also in the Reflection demo. I believe they've got two different types of tiles. So they have broken tiles and normal tiles, and similar to this, they've got two different textures. Now this is actually from the interior of the map, so let me just drag out that mesh that I have. 1 second. Oh. Let me just find it. Okay, so it's wall bathroom. Let me just flip that around. And I'm just gonna do a couple of these versions of this wall. Let me just put on snaps. Like so. And I'm just gonna put in a light quickly, just so you can see. Okay, so this is the wall for the bathroom. I've got some chipped. Let me just group these together. Like so. Got some chipped pieces of wall, and what I can do is I can, let me just, there we go, make the thing bigger. Now unfortunately, because of the way I've done these walls, it's not a lot of, it's how many vertices you have on the wall that you can have more control over it, which I will go into more detail later on into the tutorial. But as you can see, I've now got a wall here which has got less chips. This one's got more chips, and it just means that you get, once again, a bit more variation without having to create more than one material. So you can just paint in detail where you need it. So as it suggests, it is called Vertex Painting. So you're painting the vertices, So the more vertices you have on a material, on a static mesh, means that you're able to put more detail in. So if we had all of these chipped and I had way more vertices to work with, I could make a lot more controlled variations. So I could have half chipped over here, half not chipped. So it's really up to you, depending on if you can handle the performance. This is quite a big level. I've turned off all the foliage culling, so it's going to be a little bit laggy. But I decided to not go for that approach because you don't want to take an already big level and shove a ton of vertices and polygons in it and ruin the performance, because as I've mentioned in previous tutorials, performance is really important in games. You don't want a game that looks absolutely fantastic but won't run at any more than, well, you want to aim for about 120 FPS, I'd say, and allow it to dip, but you really want to aim for best performance. So at the moment, this map, when I've put everything back into for optimization, it should run at about 100 FPS or more. But if you're adding in tons of polygons just to add that extra detail. So this is an example here that I've put in to show you of a static mesh that has a lot of vertices for you to work with. So let's turn on the wireframe. So you see I've got a lot more vertices to work with. So if I go over here, I can actually start painting in puddles again. Yep, like that. And I can change how much strength I want, the radius. And it gives me a lot more control. So then we're getting a really good variation on your puddles. You can create a lot more sort of different shapes, and it really breaks up the design. So that you're not seeing the repeated modular texture. So let's get into details about how to actually do this inside your material. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off by making our first material. I think I'll take us into a new map because I'll take us into our testing map. Don't save. Don't want to save that. Okay. Oh, my test map. Wrong test map. Apologies. Don't save. There we go. Okay, this has got a lot of trees in it. Let me just delete them out. Here we go, got a clean world to work with. Actually, I'm going to make a new level, just a new default level. Okay, there we go. So let's start with, let's take a look. Let's do the wall bathroom. Here we go. Let me just flip that around so we get a good look at it. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the material for this again, using the Vertex method with the two different materials. So what you need to do is if you use Substance Paint or whatever you use to make two different versions of your material, one covered in grime or one with chipped, chipped things, chipped tiles. And what we're going to do is we are going to go through the method for making a material just like this. Let me just open this up. So a quick overview of what we're going to be doing. Vertex Painting uses different colors. So what you can do, which is also neat, is you don't just have to do it like that. You could have a separate color for moss, a separate color for chips, a separate color for grime. And so what I've only done for this material is I've not wanted it to be overly complicated for now. But at the moment I'm just using the Vertex color red. So that's adding the chips to the tiles. But if I wanted to, I could also make another variation. So I'd have a clean version of the texture, a chipped version of the texture, and a mossy version of the texture. And I could apply each version to a different color, and that would give me more control and more variation. So you could have it that you could have moss on just one, or moss and chips. You get what I mean, right? So I'm going to just take you through how to do this from scratch. Let me just get my materials ready. Okay, so we're going to make a new new texture. Let me just get this from my other screen, okay? So here I have my different versions of the wall. Let's see, bathroom floor, new folder. Here we go, so that's the broken base. And I'm going to make a new material. And I'm going to call this Bathroom Vertex Paint. Ooh. Just an example. Okay? So I'm going to open that up, like so. It's a little bit hard to sort of work on one monitor, so I'm just going to try and There we go. Okay, so to start off with making our material, we're going to want to bring in all our textures. So I'm going to, sorry, Windows wants to update. There we go. Bring all these in. So all you have to do is select your textures, drag them in, like so. So these are all the textures for my broken version of the wall. Right, next up, I need to bring in my normal tiled. Where are they? There we go. So then I drag in my normal versions. So these are the ones without the chips in the wall. There we go. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to use something called a lerp. So this is going to allow us to blend together the two types of textures. That allows for an easy blend where it's able to sort of mix the two textures together to give a nice sort of fade in, fade out. When I was doing the moss, for example, you could see that it was half one texture, half the other. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring in a linear interpolate. I hope I said that right. So you can just do that by right-clicking and typing in lerp, like so. Then we're going to want to bring in our vertex colors. So you need to do right-click and type in vertex, go down to constants, and click vertex color. Okay? Right, so we're going to start off with our base color. Let's just organize this a bit. So our base color are these two. These are our diffuse or albedos. There we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the red vertex color and plug it into our alpha. And then we're going to take our normal base color and make sure you get these the right way around. So if I put the normal one into the A, we'll talk about it in a bit. But I'll put this one into the A. So this is my normal, non-chipped version. And then we're going to take the broken version and we're going to plug this one into the B, like so. And then we're going to plug this into our base color. There we go, easy. And let's just put this out of the way. What you might want to get used to as well is commenting your materials, just so you know what each part is doing. So all you have to do is sort of select all these, like so, click and drag, press C to add a comment, and we'll call this our albedo from down here. There we go. And we can drag that out the way like so. So it's just nice and neat. Okay, so we're going to do the same again for our roughness or our normal. Let's start with the normal. So here we have my normal. So what I'm going to do is I'm once again going to bring in that linear interpolate by typing in right-click lerp, like so. And then I'm going to bring in the vertex color again. So right-click, type in vertex, bring up vertex color. Then we're going to plug this red node into the alpha. Now what you need to make sure, as I said before, so this doesn't get mixed up, is we want the normal version to go into the A. Don't put the broken version of the normal map into the A. You want them to be in the same places as before. So we're going to take the broken version and plug that into the B. And then we're going to take this and we're going to plug it into the normal like that. And then we're going to comment, and I'm just going to say that's the normal. So press C to bring up your comment when you've got them all selected. Type in the text what you want to call it, and that's just keeping it neat. So we're going to drag that out the way like so. Okay? Right, now some of you might be confused what on earth I'm doing here with these things. It depends what you use to texture. I use something called Substance Painter. I will be doing some tutorials on that, but what it does is, if I go here quickly and show you what it does. The fun thing about Substance Painter is it will put your roughness, your metallic, and your ambient occlusion all in the same map, so that you are reducing the amount of texture space you're using, so it sort of really helps optimize your game. So if I was to hide these here, the blue is my, what's it called? Ambient occlusion, but I don't have any on this one. The red, I believe, is my roughness. Let's just check. Oh, the red is my ambient occlusion. Yeah, sorry about that. The red is the ambient occlusion. The green is my roughness. And the blue is empty because that's metallic. And I don't have anything on a broken wall that is metallic. But we're going to plug that one in still, because we want a 0 number for metallic anyway. Okay. So if you've got a normal grey map for your roughness, just follow the same sort of technique that we're doing here. So what I'm going to do is it's going to get hopefully not too complicated for those who already know what I'm doing. So we're going to put in our vertex color, right click vertex. Then we're going to type in lerp, bring in our linear interpolate. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug the red into the alpha, like we've done before. This is my normal bathroom wall, and we're going to plug the red, which is our ambient occlusion, into the A. And we're going to plug the red from here, which is our broken wall, into the B. And then I'm going to plug this into our ambient occlusion, like so. Now, if you've got normal grayscale sort of maps, just follow again, but don't use the red plugs, just use the, for beginners who don't know what I'm doing here, this is taking the red channel, just the red, and putting that in. So it's just a way of texture space saving, and I'll go into another tutorial later about explaining how you can do that. Okay, so I'm just going to comment that, C, and call that ambient, occlusion. I'm a bit blind, I can't spell. Not the biggest deal. There we go. And we're going to drag that out of the way. Right. Now what you can do is you can copy and paste these if you want, or you can continue using them. It's not going to mess anything up. So we're going to put in our linear interpolate again, so lerp, and our vertex color. Bloop. In it goes. And this time we're going to do our green map, which is our roughness value. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the green, and this is our broken version, so that's going into the B. And we're taking the green from this version and putting it in the A. And we're taking our red and putting it in the alpha. And that is your roughness value. So you plug it in like so. There we go, and we can still comment this. Roughness. And then finally our metallic. So what we need to do is we do lerp again. Vertex color. And we take the blue from our, actually it's the same on both, so it really doesn't matter, but pop that in there, pop that in there, red into the alpha. To be fair, considering these aren't different, they're not going to have different metallic values. You could just shove one of them straight in. But let's say that you've got a version of Vertex Painting which adds a metallic color to the Vertex Painting process. You might need to do this. So you take this and you plug it straight into your metallic, like so. And then I'm going to comment that as metal value. Okay, so that should work now. That's us done for the Vertex Painting. Hopefully that wasn't too difficult. If you do have any questions, then you can obviously ask me and I can try and, go over it again. And I might do some other tutorials to show how you can do it with moss and with dirt and make it more complicated. We'll go into Vertex Painting puddles, which can get quite complicated. But let's just show this in working. So I'm going to take my new texture and I'm going to plop it on. There you go, right in there. And it should work. So what I want to do is I go to the painting node here and I've got paint colors. So you see that we've got the channels, red, green, blue, alpha. So I only need the red channel because that's the channel that we used. And if I paint, you'll see that the chips will disappear. And if you want to have more detail in that, so if we had a, I wonder if I can find a mesh that has, maybe I can use one of the basic ones, the sphere. So if I was to take this and add the same to the sphere, which should have more vertice points, then it should allow me to have some more control over, see all those vertices I can paint on now? So I can change the radius, like so. I can change the strength, so we want that all the way there. And you can have a lot more control, so I could just have these ones chipped, but not these ones, you see? But you really want to be careful with how much vertices you want to add, because you want to make sure you're not just using up all the computer's performance to render out all these polygons. It's really a sort of a trade-off. So if you're just making a really small level and you're still hitting 30 FPS or 60 FPS, don't worry about it. You can add the extra detail. Probably for the interior map, I'll be more willing to put in extra vertices, but not for the exterior map. So hopefully that worked for you. This is very basic vertex painting. If you want to make it more complicated, you're going to end up with a lot more nodes going on, but what you can do is then use your green channel to add grime, your blue channel to add moss, and then you get a lot more control. And then what you can do is you can sort of select the green channel and paint in your moss, or the blue channel and paint in your dirt, or you can use all three. And that will really help sort of add a bit of variation to your materials. Okay, so thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found that useful. If you enjoyed the video, please like it, leave me a comment, subscribe to the channel for more tutorials. And I would really love it if you could look at our Kickstarter and pledge today, because it will allow me to make more tutorials, blog about the game development for you, and it'd be really nice to work on this game. So thanks, guys, and talk to you later.